Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the regular meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, July the 15th at 2 p.m. in Chambers. First item up would be the adoption of some minutes from previous meetings, Committee of the Whole minutes from July the 2nd, and regular open minutes from July the 2nd, 2013. Any input into any of those minutes? Hearing none, they will be adopted by consensus. No business arising. Any late items coming forth today? No late items, thank you. Delegations, none. Moving into water matters. Water accounts in the amount of $46,772.19 for approval. Morera Laranjo. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That has been carried. Under the correspondence, there's a report from the Okanagan Basin Water Board regarding the July 4th meeting. I wasn't at that meeting, so I can't really report out on it. It conflicted with our council meeting. So are we going to have a motion to receive? Please, Councillor Rhodes-Ryan. Any discussion on that? All in favor? They have been received. We have a letter also from the Osoyoos Lawn Bowling Club. Councillor Ryan, were you going to recuse yourself?
Yes, I'm on the executive, so I shall recuse myself.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and the letter is as it's been reported in the agenda. A little bit of damage, or not really damage, I guess, but a bit of cost involved in cleaning up after the fireworks display. What are council's wishes, please? Councillor McCourtaugh, please.
Yes, thank you. I certainly sympathize with the lawn bowling with the problems to their grass, because I know that it's a very touchy lawn to look after. But that being said, I think there could be any number of people that might have to clean up a little bit after the fireworks. Certainly our town crew may have to clean up at Gyro and Watermark perhaps as well. So while I can sympathize with them, I think that it's just one of those things that happens on July 1st, and I think that we all need to kind of take some responsibility in dealing with that ourselves. So I don't think we should be paying this.
Okay, thank you. Seconder for that, please. Councillor Plant. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? That request has been denied. Next, thanks, Mr. Romanko. Next item would be a letter from the City of Trail dealing with upcoming changes to power rates that we're all going to experiencing as they're dealing with the Fortis service area. An interesting letter from the Mayor of Trail, from Dieter. And what would council like to do with this? I mean, we could just receive it, or are we going to take a different position on this? Council's wishes, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I don't know if we saw the report, but you know, certainly the BC Hydro has been in the news, and we know that they're paying a lot of dividends to the province. So I think it would be certainly prudent of us to join this committee to find out more and to make representation if we feel it's justified, because if the rates go up, they're going to go up for Fortis too, because they buy some of their power from BC Hydro. So I think we do have a vested interest in finding out more at the very least.
Okay. Well, maybe we can just leave it there for now until we do have more information. Mr. Romanko, please.
Just as another bit of information, I talked to Bob Gibney from Fortis.
Okay.
And just to verify if
right.
Relative to this letter, and he verifies that in fact Fortis is working with this little committee.
Okay.
To ensure that their customers get the
okay.
rate.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Okay. So what would our action be then?
Well, I guess the action could very well be that just indicate in the last paragraph, it says, please indicate your willingness to join the communities in the Lower Columbia in making representation to the provincial government. You know, I think just a letter supporting this particular action would be in order if council so saw fit.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I would make that motion then that we do so.
And Councillor Plante. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Letter is headed for the mailbox. A report from Mr. Romanko. We had the weigh scale operating contract up, and I understand there was a couple of applicants that applied for it. Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. The weigh scale clerk contract comes to an end August 31st. Advertising was completed in 2 editions of the Osoyoos Times and on e-news. The attached request for proposal outlines the duties and responsibilities of the scale clerk. Just for information purposes, I provided council a summary of the number of loads that come through the door. This is a report that I've asked to be generated just this year, so council will be getting this type of information in the future. 2 proposals were submitted in response to the RFP. One proposal came from the existing contractor, B&B Wood Grind, and one from another local contractor. The annual contract fees submitted are as follows: B&B Wood Grind, $43,710. ABBC Consulting, $47,000. B&B Wood Grind currently has all the bonding and insurance with their current operations. ABBC makes reference to seeking out insurance. As directed by council, I have included the approximate cost of operating the facility with union staff. These costs are approximate because they don't include the additional overtime costs associated to operations on statutory holidays. I have also included a report that was completed by the Regional District of North Okanagan, which discusses the pros and cons of having union staff operate the scale house. Judging from the content of the report, their considerations are just a little bit different because they have a separation between waste scale operations and the landfill operator. They don't have a separation. The report doesn't address the higher wage costs associated with union staff and appears to be biased to union staffing model. In terms of implications for the community, certainly our community benefits from an effective and efficient operations of a scale house at the landfill. It's the first point of contact that provides direction. Organizationally, currently the capital aspects of the landfill are managed by the Director of Public Works. All other matters are managed by myself. This will continue if the decision is to continue with the contractor model. The budget, the 2012 budget contract was $48,000. One submission will bring the annual contract down significantly. Significant dates: the contract expires August 31st, 2013. I provided 5 options for council to consider. The first being to approve B&B Wood Grind for the waste scale operations for a 3-year contract plus an option for 3 additional years. The second one would be to approve ABBC Consulting for the same terms, 3 years plus 3 additional. Third option, seek out additional information from one or both contractors. Fourth, seek out additional information on providing union employees to provide waste scale functions. And fifth is to defer any decision to the August 19th meeting. I recommend option number 1, that being to the proposal submitted by B&B Wood Grinding be accepted by council. The existing operator has the lowest bid price and extensive knowledge of the operations and current legislation impacting landfill operations. The operator has an excellent working relationship with town staff and provides a good service to the municipality. There would be no disruption of service or orientation period. The ABBC proposal is more expensive, and the operator has no experience in landfill operations and legislation. The applicant does appear to have the needed financial, computer, and customer relations skills. The option of the union staff person providing this service would add more costs and wouldn't achieve value added for those additional costs. The administration has also recommended that the 2014 business plan process review the additional landfill staffing to provide inspection, feedback, and compliance at the face of the landfill. One once explored that this service could be an addendum to the weigh scale operations contract or advertised as a separate contract. Thank you.
Thank you. That very good report, Mr. Remanko. Like looking at all the options, including town employees running that. So we covered all our bases there. Which way is Council going, please? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion based on the wording in option number 1.
Okay, thank you. And seconder, Councillor McCordoff. Speaking to it, Councillor Rhodes, please.
I don't have much to say other than the fact I wish we would have had a few more applicants to get a better cross-section, but I'm reasonably happy with you know, the work ethic and the quality of work that we've been getting out of the previous contractor, who would be the new one if this is successful. So yeah, not too much to say, but other than that.
Okay, yeah, and I think it's about $5,000 cheaper than our last contract, isn't it?
Yes, and I just happened to have that discussion with the operator, and they said there were some things that they were paying for that were not in the job description. Okay. And so what they've done is they've taken those out. Okay. And okay. There's a series of administrative costs in that that previously they were including in their contract price, and now they're not. Okay, fair enough. We like the new rates, and they're fine operators up there. So, any further comments on this? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. B&B is the successful contractor. Next item up is a development variance permit. This is to do with a proposed sign for the Osoyoos Golf Club. And we did go to some public input on this under our guidelines, which was with anyone within 60 meters of the golf course property. And there was a fair number of people that were opposed to this. Mr. Armstrong, please. Planning Technician Phil Armstrong.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. On July 2nd, 2013, Council discussed the Development Variance Permit 1301 and directed staff to discuss with the Osoyoos Golf Club manager options for relocating the sign. The planning technician and the building inspector revisited the golf course property along Highway 3 and confirmed that due to the lay of the land, there is not a clear location to place a sign that would be visible from the highway and on the golf club's property, as well as not impact the views from Casitas del Sol. In discussion between staff and the golf club manager, Lisa Patch, he confirmed that they carefully selected the only location on their Highway 3 frontage that would be visible. The lay of the land is somewhat misleading because this portion of the highway right-of-way is twice as wide as normal, likely due to the embankment. At the meeting, there was also mention of allowing the sign on the highway right-of-way, and staff can assure Council that the Ministry of Transportation would not provide its permission. In fact, the RDOS and MOT are working together to remove third-party signage. For further background information, please refer to the previous report, which is attached. So the options are, number 1, to vary the Town of Osoyoos sign bylaw to allow a freestanding sign in the Parks and Rec zone that has a sign copy area of 17.83 meters squared and a maximum height of 4.5 meters on the golf club's leased property. Option 2, allow the sign as described in option 1, but for a fixed 3-year non-renewable term. This would be similar to the amortization agreements the town will be entering into with owners of rooftop or animated signs, which are prohibited by the sign bylaw, ostensibly, and would provide the golf club an opportunity to complete its rebranding effort. The neighbors to the east of Casitas del Sol, however, would have a visual impact. 3, reduce the sign copy area to 2 feet by 24 feet with a maximum height of 8.5 feet. It could simply state Osoyoos Golf Club Public Welcome or something to that effect. This would meet the intent of the golf club's rebranding efforts, but also somewhat limit the adverse impacts on the neighboring properties, and option 4 is to not allow the sign. So the recommendation is, normally the administration would recommend to council that the sign be removed due to impacts that it has on the view lines and landscapes, the unsightly nature of the unfinished product, and its completed development being contrary to the sign bylaw. However, in this situation, the administration is recommending the compromise, option 2. The factors that influence this recommendation relate to the timing of the structure being erected and the passing of the sign bylaw. The structure was erected prior to the sign bylaw being passed, but the information portion of the sign was stopped by the passing of the sign bylaw. We feel it is in the best interest to allow the sign to be completed and provide for the 3-year grace period. This is a compromise that respects the integrity of the sign bylaw and affords some flexibility to the golf club for its rebranding campaign. The administration recognizes the visual impacts on the neighbors as exhibited in the letters we received. However, our recommendation will provide for some time limitation on the neighborhood impacts. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Armstrong. Council, please. Where are we going to go with this? Councillor McCordaw, thank you.
Thank you. I definitely do not like the sign where it is, and I think that we've had many letters from the people who live around there, and I just think it's a bad idea to keep it there even for 3 years. So that being said, could we look at a different option of either moving it off the golf course property and down the hill a little bit, or closer to the town sign that is in front of the industrial park? Those would be 2 options.
Okay, so move the sign for now would be that, and that was a motion that you, or are we just having a discussion?
I'm just sort of stating the way I think.
Okay.
I haven't got a motion.
Okay, that's
yet.
fine. No, I don't mind having a bit of a preamble here. So there's, with the amount of public input from the people that live there, I think there is, in fact, they were all against it. I don't think anyone was in favor. Was there anyone in favor of it? Not that I'm aware of.
No, not that we heard from.
I just think that there's an opportunity here for a compromise, and I don't know that it's the 3-year and then take it down. So maybe, you know, there's a couple of site locations. I was just at the golf course with my charter member mother, age 99, for the 40th birthday party of the golf course on Friday evening. A wonderful event. And it's a major part of our town. It's a huge economic driver in the way of jobs, and not just the direct jobs, but what it provides to our tourist industry here. And of course, they're going through, as golf courses are, they're going through hard times and tough times, and they're doing a rebranding. So there's a lot of reason and rationale out there. And I think where Councillor McCordaw was talking is a possibility. I looked at a couple of other possibilities. I think it could be part of our Welcome to Osoyoos sign, further up by a legitimate sign further up by the Rewinds, Brian Holgate's Osoyoos Rewinds there, right on the highway. I think that we can find an attractive place. I think they are a part of our community. We rent them all that land for acreage, for the water effluent. They're part of Team Osoyoos. And I'm sure we can find a place for them to get that sign as they're trying to recreate or create the image that it's a public facility and not a private, and that's why they've changed their name from the Osoyoos Golf and Country Club to the Osoyoos Golf Club, and making some changes there, trying to increase the amount of people to play and the revenue driven by green fee players. So I think we have an obligation. They are partners, and I think we can find and maybe get the sign into our bylaw parameters. I know on the road that Councillor McCordaw is talking about, there's already a private sign right there, almost in the middle of that little dirt road going off the highway there. But I think we can find something if that's Council's desire. Councillor Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. Another site that might be a good possibility would be a location on our airport site, somewhere in that area. And when that suggestion was made, I didn't like it too much, but then I started thinking that, you know, as you mentioned, you know, they're a major employer in our community, and you also need to respect the site views of the residents in that area as well. And so once again, you know, you get conflicted. Well, which way are we going to go with this kind of thing? And One of the things that I really liked about the airport site when it was suggested is perhaps an opportunity to get a visual from traffic going in both directions. If you were to kind of position it there, you'd see it going westbound and then eastbound coming into the town, so you might double up in the effect of it. I know it certainly adds to the cost, but you know, exponentially you'd capture more people looking at it with a site like that as well. And I know none of those are on the list, but I'm just sort of, you know, adding to the suggestion that was made.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Manco, do you want to go first here? You may have some.
I'm not intimately familiar with the sign bylaw, but I know that one of the reasons that we didn't consider alternative sites is then we'd be looking at third-party signage, which was a huge part of the sign bylaw. That could be corrected by planning staff in that particular area, but that speaks to third-party signage, and in terms of site locations that are being proposed, other than what would be on town property, that's all highway easement. You know, council has expressed concerns with highway signage, and we, in fact, as part of our highway signage, you know, the long-term plan is to deal with all those signs entering within our town boundaries, and this certainly would, you know, not be supportive of those particular efforts.
Well, I think on that long term, by the time we ever do that, and that would be if, and then when, we would deal with this sign at that time also. That's how I see it happening. And we do have the airport lands that are town property. And as I say, to my way of thinking, the Osoyoos Golf Course is very, very much a partner in spray effluent, recreation, economic development. They are a part of Team Osoyoos. Councillor Pont.
And to that, I would also say that, you know, the thing with the sign is you don't know the measurable, and we're looking for vehicles to drive by and see this. Well, the picture that keeps coming in my head is the picture of sitting in the backyard and looking at that sign. They don't have an option. It's there. They're not in a vehicle driving by it. They're not on the golf course golfing. They are in their backyard, and they're looking directly at the sign, which takes away the visual of the lake. And that's, unfortunately, that's the picture I have in my head of sitting in my backyard and looking at that sign. And so that's why I unfortunately couldn't support its location. And as far as what I always felt like the bylaw for the sign would do on the highway signs is clean up the ones that have been missed, haven't been used, have been neglected, are starting to be, you know, starting to look raggedy. You can't even tell who owns it, and so that's what I was, you know, a clean, good sign designed well, on property such as the airport. I don't see that the same as a sign that's been neglected and needs to be taken care of. So again, sorry, but I can't support where it's located right now. I'd love to have other options for them.
Okay, Councillor Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I too don't like the location where it is, and I appreciate that they tried to put it on their own property, but I've been concerned over many years for the loss of people's view and interference by various things with their enjoyment of the view. You know, I know that we're trying to clean up the right-of-ways, but we also have the authority from highways to remove signs within our own town boundaries. And you know, there's one there by the B gate that comes from the golf course property onto the highway at Highway 3, which I don't think we've ever allowed, and it's sitting there in all its glory. So if we can remove, we should be able to permit. Now this sounds, I know I sound like I'm talking like a lawyer, but I also think that there's another alternative, and I'd like to see us. I appreciate the staff trying to come up with a compromise and trying to somehow fit it within the parameters of our bylaw. But there's one other thing, and we don't have anything to show for it yet, except that Council has seen what the Ministry of Highways is doing in terms of new signage for communities. And we have asked that we be one of the first ones in the South Okanagan to receive this. And it consists of a large sign in their colors. I think it's the green colors. And you have the option of putting in 4 main attractions of your town and another 6 amenities in the town. And I can see that, and these are huge signs. These would be right at the entrance of the town, and I don't know, they might be a meter or so, a couple meters wide. And I can see, we would have the Osoyoos Golf Club, and even maybe, I don't know if it's normally added, but we could maybe negotiate with them to put members welcome, or sorry, public welcome.
Yeah.
I want to get away from that, don't you? Public welcome. In any event, I know that I'm excited about this new signage program.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that given the rapport we've had with the people at Ministry of Transportation, we might be able to, to cash in some chips and get public welcome. But I think that's another alternative, and I'd like to see us working with them, to kind of come up with something that is possible and doable, and even if it, ideally if it's long term, but even if it has to be shorter term. I mean, 3 years is what is being proposed for the this existing one.
Okay, Councillor Rhodes.
Thanks again, Mr. Mayor. So, the report that Phil Armstrong has given us is outlining an application for a development variance permit. Mm-hmm. And to me that means that we're going to change something that's not written into our bylaw right now and allow this to happen. Would it not be possible to have them maybe look at some of these options that were presented today, the 2 or 3 or 4 different ones, and let them choose, and then maybe reword the variance application after doing that, and that way, we show, engagement in it. I think everybody wants to see them have a sign, and it's just where it is and who it affects, both, positive and negatively. And I see this as a good compromise in a way of giving a new list of options. Let them pick the one that they think is best, based on some of the discussions that we've had today. And I kind of think that might have been a question.
Okay,
sorry.
So I think I'm encouraged by Council's desire to keep looking for an alternate. I think that's really positive. But on the up front, I'm going to entertain the motion to deny. Is that what we're looking for? What was the allow the sign as described for a 3-year fixed 3-year term. So the motion that I'm hearing around the table is not to allow the sign, which would be option number 4. Is that do I have this right after we've heard this? Councillor McCordock?
Yes, I think that we should say that, or I would move that we say we do not allow the sign in the present location, but we would be open to having other suggestions of other places that it could be put, or either a variance or on the town property.
Yeah. Okay. Be opened and encourage. Dialogue with alternate location. Okay, Laurie, did you get that? Okay. Okay, thank you. Seconder will be Councillor Ryan. Any more input onto this? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next up, RV parking report.
No, age friendly.
Age friendly.
Oh, report. I'm sorry. Age friendly. Kyler. Yeah, this is exciting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As part.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. There we go.
Okay. As part of the Town of Osoyoos Business Plan 2013 to 2015, community services staff have been tasked to investigate and explore the age-friendly British Columbia program. As an aging community, Osoyoos could benefit from being recognized as an age-friendly community. 2 out of every 5 residents in Osoyoos are 65 years or older. In fact, the median age of Osoyoos residents has increased from 58.2 years in 2001 to 60.3 years in 2011. Population increases among both the ages 45 plus and ages 65 plus demographics has outpaced overall municipal population growth. Successful implementation of this program will allow the town of Osoyoos access to information and grant opportunities up to $20,000 for health and well-being of seniors who are active agers in our community. The age-friendly British Columbia program suggests the first step in becoming an age-friendly community is the creation of a committee dedicated to this initiative. The committee mandate would be to serve as the age-friendly champion for the community by developing a vision, gathering momentum, and encouraging action. In order to optimize success and sustainability, a coordinated approach between local government, citizens, service providers, and community organizations to make the community age-friendly would be necessary. The proposed committee would be best served if it included a member of council and town staff from both community services and planning and development. Other committee members could include representatives from the Osoyoos Senior Center Association, Interior Health, other relevant community groups, and the general public. Following the creation of a committee, there are 5 additional steps identified by Age-Friendly BC. The second step would be to pass a resolution indicating council's support for the initiative. After that, the committee would create an age-friendly assessment, which would include public input. The final steps are to develop and publish an action plan, implement the action plan, and monitor the age-friendly progress. The implications for the community are that the proposed committee will allow for increased community participation in municipal affairs and sustainable community development. From an organizational standpoint, the commitment of 2 staff and 1 councillor is required. There is an organization concern related to the development of specific interest group committees and the amount of time needed to work with these committees and the committee relationships to our broader recreation committee that is proposed to develop into a community services committee. Another recent committee to be formed is the Health Coalition Committee, which has allocated staff time and an interest promotion. From a budget standpoint, successful implementation of the Age-Friendly BC program will allow for access to a number of grant opportunities for significant dates. The steps to becoming an Age-Friendly BC community should be completed as soon as possible to ensure program benefits are taken advantage of to the fullest. And for sustainability, a committee with regular meetings will ensure continued local support of the Age-Friendly BC initiative. Provided 3 options. Option number 1 is to create terms of reference for a council committee to oversee this initiative, including a member of council and town staff, and invite other relevant stakeholders to participate. Option number 2 is to defer action to a later date. And the third option is not to get involved in the initiative. Staff is recommending that option 1 be considered.
Thanks, Mr. Nurmsu. So was this a new program?
This program has been ongoing for a few years now, but it was included in our most recent business plan as something to consider.
Okay, okay. Input, please. Councillor Ryan.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move option number 2, that we defer action to a later date, and if I get a seconder, I'll speak to that.
Okay, do we have a seconder? I think we should have that seconded.
Okay, I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor McCordoff. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. You know, when I read this, I thought, oh boy, we are really getting lots of committees and lots of undertakings, and when you read the expectation, we just, for example, recently joined the healthy initiative, healthy living initiative, and you know, that's required a committee. We're part of a region-wide coalition there with Interior Health and the regional district and so on. And you know, this is fairly heavy. A councillor, 2 staff, an assessment, and so on. So I just really feel that at the present time, you know, our staff and even our council, to a certain extent, are pretty spread around with their committees and their other work, and that maybe this isn't the moment. And I'd be happy to put a date on that, if you know, rather than just leave it out there. But as good as it is, and I speak as a self-interested person, I'm not sure that the timing is right, and so that's why I put that forward.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Plant.
About that, and I forgot to turn that on. I also concur that we have a ton of committees. That was the first thing that I noticed as well. And then I also noticed, the relationships between, when we talk about organizational, the relationships that it has with our other committees. And I'm wondering why it cannot be put into one of those committees as an initiative. So, for instance, we have the Recreation Committee, and I'm part of that committee. We don't meet often, but sometimes we're searching for things as a committee. And this could be that project. Could we not put in, the Healthy Coalition? Could we not, so that's what I always wonder. Are we taking complete advantage of the committees that we already have, or are we just creating more committees, and we should maybe start to unload some of this work onto some of the committees that are already existing? That would be what I read from this, is this exact same thing. Committee, and we've got a lot of committees, and I think there's a chance for us probably to put some of this work into one of those already existing.
I think that would be a good thing to look at, because we're also talking about the number of volunteers that we're going to churn through, and that seems to be it's not a depleting resource, but it's certainly one that we want to keep healthy and operating. Councillor McCordoff.
Yes, thank you. Well, I certainly understand the concerns about several committees. I would hate to lose this opportunity to apply for grants. Seniors are not only living longer, maybe that's the problem, but they have money, and they also have interests, and they want activities. So I think we need to jump on this in whatever way we can, and I'm certainly okay with having it as part of another committee rather than a standalone, but I don't think we want to miss out on getting some of the grants, and having some of these people whom, a lot of the seniors are ready and willing to be involved in committees and volunteer. They do a great deal of volunteering, and if it was something that was specifically to help them, they may be even more. So I think we need to do it in whatever way we can.
Thanks, Councillor McCordoff. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kyler, I wonder if, a great job, by the way, excellent report. I know you must be a little, good for you, yeah, good for you for coming here, and great report, well put together and very informative. If I could just maybe ask a couple of questions about the grant monies that we would apply for, get, what they would kind of be, if you could give me some. I know you had the $20,000 thing in there, but so we would get these grants. Do you know if they're matching grants? What would we use it for, or to what extent?
There are a variety of different styles of grants, whether it's matching or just a one-time grant type program. But basically, they would go towards anything from recreation, accessibility, infrastructure, things like that. So really, anything that would help the community become more age-friendly, quote unquote, is what those grants would go towards.
Would they be exclusive to this program? Would this be the only entrance way to get at that money?
In order for some of the grants, there is wider access, but very specific ones, yes, you are required to be recognized as an age-friendly BC community.
Okay. Just the name of it, I think we have to. My feeling is we have to go ahead with this. And I certainly had the same thoughts as Councillor Plant and Ryan, exactly the same thoughts. But I think we have to move ahead, and then we'll see how that, if there's a fit out there, if we can make it work. But I think we should move. I'd like to see us move this ahead, and then try to fill the seats and see what that looks like, because I think it's important, and particularly with the grant money that's involved there. Councillor Plant, please.
So that, again, I'd like to ask that question again. If we were to put this age-friendly BC initiative into the Recreation Committee, would we have access to those dollars? Because we are putting it into a committee, so I'm wondering if that's specific enough for some of these.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe that a standalone committee dedicated to this initiative is required. As long as the mandate is encompassed within an existing committee, the stakeholders are relevant, and the following action steps are implemented, whether it's the report is still generated. That is still required to successfully become an age-friendly BC community, but I don't believe that a standalone committee is necessarily required.
So can we have a made in Osoyoos solution to this?
Yeah, it could certainly, like I said, it could certainly be absorbed into an existing community or committee that we have right now, as long as the steps are still followed through.
Great. Councillor Blunt.
So I would put forward the motion that this age-friendly...
On the floor.
Oh, did we already put one?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We've got the delay motion on the floor. Councillor Ryan made the motion and you seconded.
I seconded it.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
I did not.
Councillor Hartog did.
Okay.
So shall we vote on that, and then I can
if,
put one?
if you want to call the question.
I'd love to put the question out there.
Okay. Okay. Question has been made. We have the motion read, please, that we're voting on.
Moved Councillor Ryan, second by Councillor Portal, and resolved that Council approves deferring action on the Age-Friendly BC initiative.
Okay. So this is the motion to defer. All in favor? Opposed? That motion is defeated. Next motion.
Thank you. I like this. Well, my motion would be that we put the age-friendly initiative, BC initiative, within the Recreation Committee.
Oh, just like that.
Just like that.
Okay.
If we look at that committee and the people that are on there, I think we would recognize that we have that group is very diverse. And according to what I've just heard as far as kind of the mandate and what they're looking to go towards, that committee is looking for some of these types of initiatives to take on, and I think this is a perfect one. So I'm going to put it out there for that, yes.
Excellent. Seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Further dialogue, please. Councillor Ryan.
Yes, I like that idea, and whether it's a subcommittee of that or within their umbrella, I think that's an excellent way of doing it. It stops the proliferation of individual committees, and this is the kind of thing, just like accessibility. These are the things that you don't want to be the purview of just one little group. You want them to penetrate throughout the whole operation of the municipality. So I think that's a good solution. I support that.
Great. Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, Kyler, thanks for the chart. When I look at this thing and see how exponentially the over 65 population has gone up over the years, I'd also like to point out that that statistic is also 4 years old. I'm wondering if it's 15 or 16% now. We probably won't know until the next census and that. But yeah, this is something that we definitely have to pay attention to. I hate to see it slide by, and those grant opportunities are always great. And if that's the direction that we're heading in, then we need to pay attention to these types of programs.
Thank you. Mr. Remanko, please.
And just a comment relative to the Recreation Committee and a comment in the report. The business plan does identify that we would like to reconfigure that Recreation Committee to a broader mandate of community services, encompassing all these types of activities of what I would refer to as human development, and that way we're not, the whole Recreation Committee concept was born many years ago, and I think it's time that we evolved that structure within our, certainly we have name-wise, we just haven't done the legislation-wise, partly due to the fact it would impact the regional district as well.
Great, great. Good comments. Any further input? All in favor? Opposed? It is now part of the Recreation Committee.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Nermsen. Next report, RV parking, Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. Council adopted traffic bylaw number 1256 in 2009. The council at that time gave direction that RV parking be restricted to 2-hour maximum on any street. Since bylaw 1256 was adopted, staff has received concerns from various residents and visitors regarding where they can legally park their RV. This is more of an issue for those property owners who own condos in town and stay in their condo instead of their RV when visiting Osoyoos. In the past, they have been directed to a storage facility in the industrial park. The issue has come to light more recently with a request from a resident who lives in a condo and is expecting visitors to town. These visitors have a travel trailer but will be staying with him rather than in their trailer. They wondered where they could park for 1 week. Another request was received from a bus driver who was passing through with a bus and had nowhere to park. There was no space large enough at his hotel, so a temporary agreement was made to allow him to park on the street. This, of course, took up several parking stalls, but there were no other options. Since the restricted use has been placed on the boat trailer parking lot, the storage facilities in the industrial park are full. Regardless of that, however, it doesn't seem appropriate to ask a visitor to store their trailer in such a facility for a 1 week period or a bus for 1 or 2 nights. Therefore, staff began to look at various options. As Council is aware, there is a town-owned public parking lot that is rarely used and located at 87th and 74th. This lot could be suitable for temporary RV parking. What is being proposed to Council is that this parking lot be designated as one that temporary permits can be issued by the CAO or his designate for short-term parking of uninhabited RVs or buses. It would not be an option for everyone, just those who are visiting and have no other options for parking, and this determination will be made by administration. It is anticipated that only 1 or 2 RVs will be parked in the lot at any given time, and the lot will be monitored. Rather than this creating more work for administration, it will in fact reduce the workload, as there has been much time spent on dealing with visitors who cannot find a spot to park their RV while staying elsewhere. Off-street public parking regulation bylaw number 1274/2010 already gives the CAO authority to issue permits for extended use of off-street public parking areas for the purposes of extended visits by tourists upon proof of accommodation. This report is to request that this be extended to include the parking of an uninhabited travel trailer or RV and possibly a bus if there are no other options available. Implications for the community: an overnight parking area to accommodate out-of-town visitors who are not staying in their RV. Organizationally, minimal time to issue a permit will actually save time over what is current practice. No budget impacts. Significant dates: we'd like to implement this immediately. And sustainability: continuing to accommodate visitor needs in the community. And the options being presented are that Council approve the public parking lot at 87th and 74th for temporary permitted parking of uninhabited RVs, that staff look at other options for temporary parking of uninhabited RVs, or that no temporary parking be made available for uninhabited RVs. And staff recommend option 1.
Thank you, Ms. Van Vienen. Council, please. I'm going to go to Council Rhodes. He doesn't even have his hand up, but I know he's going to have a comment about the use of the parking lot at 87th and 74th.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I've often, it's often been a mystery to me why this parking lot never gets used. I know I've joked around. I'm positive that the nuclear holocaust button is located in that parking lot, and everyone is afraid to go in there. But I would like to recommend a motion based on the wording in option number 1.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. Councillor Plant, please.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Councillor Ryan.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I would also like to see us, as part of opening this, to really look seriously at our signage for RVs, because just as that lot has been totally ignored, so has our new RV and boat trailer day use parking lot. It's just like, it's like people are just absolutely terrified to cross that sidewalk and get in there. And it's a mystery to me. I know that the signage is not, doesn't point them. I mean, there are a few RV signs, around on poles, but I think they go in a kind of a circular fashion. So we really need to sort of do that. And we also need to get the word out to people, to our residents and so on, that when they have a family or they have friends come, there are places where they can park them, and then don't ignore these spots that we're putting together.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thanks again, Mr. Mayor. So I really got caught up in the enthusiasm that there might be vehicles in that parking lot, but now that I've had a couple of minutes to reflect on it, I wonder if we should maybe go and have another look at that parking lot. I'm not sure about access in and out of there for for RVs.
Pretty steep on the one.
Well, I think so you would go in off of 74th Avenue, you would not be able to exit into the alley there. It's just way too narrow of a, so it would mean going in and then backing out again. I don't know whether that would influence anything, but yeah, I was really caught up in the excitement of it. I never even, but exiting with an RV towards the south out of the parking lot would be almost an impossibility.
And I concur with that.
Yeah, because there's neighborhood fences and power poles and all that kind of stuff to contend with, and you would be turning a large RV into a very, very narrow alley as it is. So, yeah, just I think maybe it requires some more thought.
Before we get the signs made.
Yes.
Councillor McCordoff.
Thank you. I'd like to point out that that parking lot is used. It's used during Market on Main on Saturday morning,
great.
so don't let people in there on Friday night. It was recommended to people at Market on Main, especially the vendors, that they unload their equipment and that they take their cars over to that parking lot.
Great.
And there are a few people who, in fact, do use it that way.
Good.
I don't know about the rest of the week, but definitely on Saturdays, that's what it's used for.
And as to the signage and the overflow parking lot for boat trailers by the United Church there, I have seen 18 vehicles there. There's usually a handful there was a handful on Saturday, Sunday. And the neat thing is that it's the locals that are using it, and they're the ones that sort of lost access with the long day trippers and the paved one by the sailing club. So there's nowhere for when the locals, they want to go at 2 o'clock and just jump their boat in and go for a couple hours of boating. They didn't have anywhere to go, so now they're all using it, and I've received lots of compliments to staff and council how great it is for them to have a place to go. And at the sailing club 50th birthday party on Sunday, this gal had this massive truck and about a 40-foot boat trailer on it, and she pulls up and she'd been once around the parking lot, maybe twice, looking, and she said, "Where do I go now, Stu?" And I went, "Oh, we thought about you. We have a place," right? So it was really neat to be able, and you know, if we save one bit of grief, particularly from a local tax-paying person, about using that, about them having a place to put their trailer and their rig, that's very, very positive. So.
Yes.
Anything further? Councillor Plante.
I guess I'd just like to find out where we stand with this. If we're going to look at if it's actually accessible for RVs, or are we going to move forward with this? I guess that's where I'm.
Maybe we should have a motion to defer until we get that report back. Or
Could I suggest you give us permission and we'll make an assessment,
Okay.
and then
if it doesn't work there,
if it doesn't work, it doesn't
Okay.
work,
Okay.
and that way we can, if it
Then
works,
we can move it ahead.
we can move it ahead.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so we'd be looking, and we need a vote on that, I would think. Yes. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? We will search that out and see what that looks like. Excuse me. Report on tree removal at Haynes Point. Ms. Van Vienen again.
Thank you. A letter from Janice Johnson, an accompanying petition from 24 citizens concerning the removal of large trees at Haynes Point, was received June 27, 2013, and is attached to this report. The petition requests that BC Parks consider their plan to cut down the large trees in what they call the bird sanctuary area of Haynes Point. According to the petition, it is the belief that BC Parks wants to return Haynes Point to a desert native habitat and therefore remove invasive species. They claim that all the larger trees, with the exception of a few ponderosa pines, are invasive species and therefore fear that there will be no trees left. Staff did an online search for any plans for Haynes Point and found only a master plan that was developed in 1980. The letter to Council requests Council voice its concerns to BC Parks. Along with considering this, it is prudent for Council to also consider requesting that BC Parks clarify what the long-term plan is for Haynes Point in order to ensure correct information is being relayed to the public. There may be reasons, including safety issues, that were considered when making the decision to remove some of the trees. Haynes Point is not within the town boundaries, and therefore any land issues would need to be dealt with by the RDS. Implication, addressing concerns of loss of trees, organizationally minimal is outside the town boundaries. There are no budget concerns or significant dates, and sustainability, ensuring vital vegetation is not unnecessarily removed. Options that Council direct that a letter be written to BC Parks expressing concern over the lack of information regarding the removal of trees from Haynes Point Provincial Park and requesting a copy of the long-term plan for the park. Option 2, that Council not contact BC Parks and that this matter be referred to the RDOS for action. Number 3, that no action be taken with regard to this issue. And staff is recommending option 1 with the view that although this park is not within the town boundaries, it does serve many tourists that visit Osoyoos yearly, and therefore it may be beneficial for the town to have information on its future development.
Thanks, Ms. Van Vienen. Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to make a little variation on option 1. I want us to take some action, but I'm going to rephrase it to read that we forward the petition to BC Parks and a copy to MLA Larson, asking for clarification of their long-term plans for Haynes Point in relation to the removal of invasive tree plants and species. Tree and plant species, sorry.
Okay. Councillor McCordoff, seconder.
And I think that you know, we want to make sure that we get current thinking on it, and also I think it's important to bring our MLA into this discussion because you know, it's within her territory, and that way you know, they will know that people are expressing interest and concern about what's happening there if they aren't aware of that already.
Could I make an addition to that we also include on an address the RDOS?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And go ahead, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you. I went down to Haynes Point yesterday for a walk and walked all around it. And I was looking specifically to see where the trees were and there were some that were taken down. As I recall, even some of the very large ones in the past have blown down. One, I think, hit somebody in a tent a few years back, and the tree is still there. I was looking specifically at all the trees. There's a lot of scrub bush down there, and to my way of thinking, there should be a lot more of it cleared up. Now, I didn't go in the little pathway. I went around the Haynes Point campground. And I think at some point it probably needs to be cleaned up. There's tent caterpillar, there's shoots of the trees that we were talking about at last council meeting, the Siberian elm and the Russian olive and so on. So it doesn't look to me like they've taken out a lot of trees. There's still a lot of them in there. I personally think maybe they could do a little bit more. But I do think, just like we were talking about the Y property, that an arborist, and I have a feeling that Parks Board would probably consult that, but I wouldn't even mind if that was added to the motion that you know, there must be somebody that's recommending this and probably has the authority to do so. So I honestly think that we should send this letter and just make people aware that yes, we are interested, we want to know what's going to happen, and it's in our town, so we'd like to be kept abreast of it.
Okay, so we can probably draft up that letter and let people have a look at it before we just, if there's any little, if it needs any changes or anything, rather than try to get everything in right here, although we've suggested it. Councillor Plant?
And that was all I was going to say too, because Councillor McCordoff brought up a good another thing as far as management of the park. So you take down the trees and you do a little cleanup, but what's the long-term management of that as well? So,
and it's interesting, just because I've been around for a while. Dorothy Fairbairn, who had the letter, one of the letters in this week's paper. So here was the letter from the desert perspective, and that would go back to the 30s, and it was sand dunes there. So then other people that have been here for half that time, they go and there was trees there, and so they're going, well, the trees were always here. So I guess it just depends on how far you go back. And I happen to be in the company of, and Dorothy Fairburn was Dorothy Carlson, and they owned a mercantile store about where Indy Lulu is now, back in the 30s and 40s. That was her parents' business. And so then Ruth Schiller, I was in her company last night, and she actually worked in the Carlson store, in the mercantile store, and she talked about it, and she went back into the sand dune era, and they used to ride their horses on the dunes through that area. So, you know, it goes from the sand dunes and the native species and the antelope brush ecosystem to the bushes and the birds, and everything's changing on that. So it was just rather interesting to see those two letters in the newspaper. Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? We'll get this letter drafted and proofed and mailed, hopefully. Okay, the next item up is debt issue early repayment program. Mr. Zacko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. So town borrowed $96,000 in 1995 as per their loan authorization bylaw 857 for sewer infrastructure works. This money was borrowed from the Municipal Finance Authority under debt issue 60 as a 25-year-old debt. In April of 2005, this debt was refinanced at a rate of 4.75% and was scheduled for payout in 2020. MFA has notified the town in writing on April 26 that there is an option to pay out this debt early if council wishes to do so. If council wishes to pay out this debt issue, a post-dated check in the amount of $16,960.41 dated for October 12, 2013 would have to reach the MFA BC office by October 1st. The benefit of paying this debt issue out early is a realized savings of $2,753.91. If council does not wish to pay out this debt issue early, the payments will continue as is until October of 2006. So you see, even with these dates that have been presented to council, this debt issue is actually being closed out 3 years early already, and Municipal Finance Authority is giving us a further option or opportunity to pay it out a little bit earlier and to save a little bit more cash.
Okay.
So some options for council is basically option 1 to pay out the debt issue 60 is referenced in MFA BC's letter of April 26, or option 2 to continue making low payments as per our debt schedule. Currently our sewer fund has the resources available to pay this debt out early, and that would be my recommendation.
Okay, great. Councillor Plant?
I motion option number 1.
Great. Councillor Rhodes? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Checks in the mail.
We'll be going.
Thanks, Mr. Zacko. Report on the our new water servicing agreement with the Osoyoos Indian Band. Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. The Osoyoos Indian Band is developing a service station on Highway 3 and 45th Street. In previous discussions with council, there was agreement to develop a service agreement to provide water service to this facility. This is the first water service agreement with the town and specific to the new service station only. Attached, please find a water service agreement that has been accepted by the Osoyoos Indian Band through passing a band council resolution. The agreement provides for the Osoyoos Indian Band paying all the capital costs of water service. The town hasn't incurred any capital costs to install this service. This is a standard service agreement that has the Osoyoos Indian Band paying water rates equal to the commercial establishments in town. In terms of implications, community continued good business relationships with the Osoyoos Indian Band, no budget expenditures, and there is the benefits of additional water accounts to the town. The significant dates: the facility is currently under construction. Options provided: approve the service agreement as presented. 2, council recommends changes to the agreement. 3, council makes decision not to provide water service to the service station. and we're recommending option 1, the approval of the agreement.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan?
Yes, I would move that we approve the service agreement as presented and allow it to be signed.
Okay. Seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Speaking any?
Yes,
okay.
I'll speak to it. Thank you. I think this is the second. I guess I read the sewer agreement and read this one too, and they're excellent agreements. And my first question when I read the first paragraph was, well, what about a car wash? And it specifically forbids a car wash.
Okay.
So I was happy to see that. So it looks like the water usage there will be fairly minimal, and they'll be bound by all our bylaws and so on, including our water conservation bylaws. So
okay,
looks
thank
good.
You. I guess my concern, and it's not mentioned, and it probably is because we'd probably do it for any new large commercial customer. I would certainly hope there's a meter on this.
And we can either put it on and charge them, or we can tell them to put it on. Yeah, so it provides for metering as well.
It'd be nice if it was metered now, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Not when we get a metering bylaw. It'd be nice to have that information. So I think a lot of our areas effluent. I think we should be metering a lot of that now, just to have the information.
Should we put that as part of the motion?
I would really hope that we could.
Well, I mean, I'd be happy to include that we sign it and also require that a meter be installed.
Would that slow down the deal, Mr. Romanko?
No, I think as a standard practice in our commercial operations, we put meters in.
Okay. I sort of had that, but I just, and because it's not the town of Osoyoos, it is extraterritorial in a form, I guess. So it's nice to have that there.
But they're bound by all of ours. It's very explicit that they're bound by all, as if they are members of the, within our jurisdiction.
Right.
So.
Okay, well, we had the discussion about the metering anyway. Anything further? All in favor? That's as opposed? That's carried, please. Next up is the Sailing Land Exchange. A report from Mr. Romanko, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Lands were needed from the Sailing Club lease area to facilitate the development of the marina. The attached motion was passed by Council at its April 2nd, 2012 meeting and taken out of in camera on June 17th. Basically, this motion set the terms of the land exchange agreement. The agreement or letter of understanding that we're using. The attached letter of understanding outlines the area of exchange and the terms and conditions. The Sailing Club has agreed to the terms and conditions for the attached agreement. Prior to Council approving this land exchange letter of understanding, I must have been this from the last. There must be provided 2 notices of intent in disposal of land. This was done, and this public notice consisting of 2 notifications in the press has been completed. The LOU is now coming to Council for approval, and the community benefits from the land exchange because the land exchange facilitates better access for boat drop-off. There's no cost to the land exchange, and the options presented are that Council approves the letter of understanding as presented by the administration. Council approves changes to the letter of understanding and directs the administration to take the letter back to the Sailing Club for approval. And 3, Council directs administration to inform the Sailing Club that Council no longer wants to become involved in the land exchange. We recommend option number 1, the administration. The land exchange has been operational and the letter of understanding is a catching up process. The letter of understanding includes all the directives of Council and forms the basis for billing the Sailing Club for water and sewer charges.
Great. Thank you. Council, please. Councillor McCordock.
Yes, I will approve option number 1, that Council approves the LOU as presented by the administration.
And seconder, Councillor Rhodes. Discussion, please. Anything? Nothing else? Okay. All in favor? Opposed? That carries. Another Sailing Club issue with their upcoming regatta. I think it's on Labor Day, and we allow. In the past, we have allowed some camping down there. Mr. Romanko, please.
Yes, annually the Sailing Club requested Council approve the action of regatta participants being able to camp on the Sailing Club lease area. At the August 2012 meeting, the motion was passed directing the administration to set up a letter of understanding so that this activity could occur on an annual basis. The attached letter of understanding outlines the terms and conditions enabling the regatta participants to camp on the sailing club leasehold. The sailing club has agreed to the terms and conditions of the attached agreement, and the letter of understanding is now coming to council for approval. This letter of understanding is for a 5-year period. Implications: the community benefits from having the annual regatta event. However, economic development impacts are decreased by allowing this on-site camping. Organizationally, there may be some public inquiries to the bylaw due to the unusual sight of camping on the lakefront in that area. This agreement will save council and administration time by not having to approve the activity annually. There's no cost to the regatta agreement. And the options presented: council approves the letter of understanding as presented by the administration. Council approves changes to the letter of understanding and directs the administration to take the letter of understanding back to the sailing club for approval. And then our third one, council directs the administration to inform the sailing club that council no longer wants to see camping in the area. Administration recommends option number 1. The activity has been approved by council annually, and the letter of understanding provides for formal terms and conditions.
Thank you. Councillor McCordoff.
Yes, I will move option number 1.
And Councillor Rhodes, seconder. Any discussion on this one? Councillor McCordoff?
Yes, thank you. I was looking in the agreement, and they do says the club agrees to the following terms and conditions. Recreational vehicle camping is limited to parking stalls to the parking areas and a maximum of 6 recreational vehicle units. My concern is that that's a long weekend, and I'm wondering if there would be some sort of signage that we could put down there, or is that the sailing club that puts that up? Just because there might be a lot of boats, people going down there with boats and so on, and there will be less parking.
This is only on site. This is only on their site. It's not.
Oh, isn't that interesting? It looks like it's a maximum of, in the parking areas, a maximum of 6 rec vehicles. So it's on their site, not on our parking.
Yes, it's in their 6 parking stalls on site.
No problem. Thank you.
Anything further? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. That is business 9. Business 10, a report on the Y area restoration. A report from Mr. Romanko, please.
At the July 2nd, 2013 Committee of the Whole meeting, a delegation from the Gala Crescent area came to Council expressing their concern about the Y area being overgrown by invasive species of trees. These trees are blocking their views to the lake, creating habitat for elm beetle, and have the potential to go to the height of the power lines in the area. The Kettle area is being proposed for future development of an environmental area. Therefore, any eradication actions need to address the future use of the area. Public proposals included chemical treatment and mechanical removal. Both recommended methods of dealing with these trees have plus and minus factors in achieving the overall goals of the area. Implementation of the project is also impacted by what would be best season of the year to enact the needed actions. Council directed staff to deal with the situation. However, no 2013 budget has been identified for this purpose, and varying options exist on the best options to pursue to achieve all objectives. It was directed to take a $5,000 budget request to Council for formal approval to hire an arborist that would assist in identifying the invasive species, develop an eradication plan that will achieve all objectives, and provide a plan that should be a planting plan that will assist in restoring the area and provide guidance for future tree planting in town. Once the arborist has developed a report, administration will bring the report to Council for approval of recommendations and additional funds that may be needed for mitigation actions. Council needs to be aware of the potential negative public reaction to removal of trees, even though the trees are invasive in nature. Residents in the area are impacted by these invasive trees, and the community needs direction on future tree planting programs. Organizationally, staff time will have to be moved off other identified priorities to deal with this action as a priority this year. Funding will have to come from contingency or unspent funds from completed projects. Additional funds may be needed within this budget year to enact recommended mitigations. Significant dates, planned development, and actions may be impacted by availability of appropriate resources and seasonality of identified action. Sustainability actions need to consider the environmental impacts of the area. The options presented: approve a $5,000 budget to hire an arborist that will assist in identifying the invasive species, develop an eradication plan that will achieve all objectives, and provide a planting plan that will assist in restoring the areas and provide guidance for future tree planting in town. 2, provide additional funding or less funding to carry out the plan. My spell checking there needs to be, it must be, that's a planting process. And 3, move projects to the 2014 business plan for plan development. And the administration is recommending option number 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'd like to make a motion based on the exact wording in option number 1, and just a small opportunity to talk to it if they're
Thank
seconded.
you. Then that seconder, Councillor Plant. Councillor Rhodes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we had a delegation that spoke to us at our last meeting, and several before that, and some written requests and so on and so forth over a fairly lengthy period of time. And I really like the idea of us being proactive and moving forward with this right away. You know, the key words being that it's supposed to be a kettle, and a kettle is an area that contains water and that kind of thing. And I think a lot of the species have gotten in there and for whatever reason have grown, but they're just the wrong species. I'm hoping at the end of the day they turn out to be invasive species. We're not 100% certain about that, but I'm pretty confident that they are. And you know, the added benefit of developing a relationship with an arborist will certainly help us out in the future, because you know, I've had lots of opportunities, and I know other councillors have had the same kind of opportunities to talk about trees in our community and the impact and where they should be and what they should look like and how do you remove them. And you know, this might be a good lesson for us to you know, begin to move forward with this type of a relationship. When I heard about the beetle process and kind of infesting several homes in that area, I think that's got to be added incentive to really be proactive and move forward with it this year.
Thank you. My comments on this would be that I really hope that this is the start of the town of Osoyoos moving down with an invasive species bylaw. I think we need trees that should not be allowed in town, and they should be excluded, and we should have a list of them. When I drive around and see the amount of Siberian elm, and it's going to just take over. I was looking at where where that sign could be at the golf course, and that whole area is just choked with young Siberian elm. And everywhere you look, I look at the lake, I look at the beach. That Y it's just ready to go off. If there's where the old railway track used to be in front of the log house there. There's a whole set of Siberian elm that when they need about 2 more good years and they're going to start blocking view, and there's going to be a large hue and cry. So I hope this is the start of a responsible tree program for the town of Osoyoos. I really think we should be moving in that direction, and through education. And darn it all, the best way to do a tree eradication program is to don't do a tree eradication program, do a tree planting program. That's how you win. That's how you win things over. Let's work hard to get the right trees in the right places. So I hope this is gonna be the catalyst that gets us moving down there. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Notice of motion. Councillor Ryan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I brought this notice of motion forward at the last meeting, and simply because we have had several years of extensive infrastructure projects, both in and by the town. And these projects we have spent more or less time on, depending on the project. And what struck me was that our practice about infrastructure is different from what we do with contracts and with bylaws, where we look at them on successive occasions and give, as we did today, several final approvals and so on, and go ahead and sign. And we don't do that with the other things, and yet they're equally important. In fact, last longer often than the things that we talk about in terms of bylaws or our contracts. So in our 2013 budget development documents, we did have an innovation, and that was where we had concise descriptions and concept plans of some of the proposed projects that were going to be included along with detailed cost estimates. And this provided us with greater certainty, and yet the focus was on the need and the cost rather than the implementation of the project. And even though the budget takes several days, the review of these projects tends to be somewhat cursory. So the reality is that council members are the frontline interface with our residents and the town administration, and so frequently we're the ones that people come to ask for information about what's happening or when something's going to happen and how it's going to happen, and rightly or wrongly they expect us to be quite informed about all of these matters, and so perhaps it should be. So there are some implications to this, and one is that council members will be able to provide ready and accurate information to residents as needed. There are the organizational impacts are that there will be some advanced planning by staff that will be required to schedule the briefings of this sort at council meetings or at other times prior to the tender dates. In terms of budget, there could be some additional costs for engineering staff time if and when their presence is required at briefings or when they have to provide additional information. And it would, of course, be seen to be immediately effective if this motion were passed. In terms of sustainability, it would give our built environment the benefit of new and renewed infrastructure, and our social environment a boost through informed council members communicating plans to the public. And so the options that I'm proposing is that council be given a final detailed pre-tender briefing on each infrastructure project, every infrastructure project rather, that is proposed. And second, that the original budget documents with any subsequent changes or additions be provided as part of that briefing. And further, that staff from our consulting engineering firm be available at the final briefing if deemed necessary in person or by teleconference in addition to town staff. And the others would be that we just stay with the original budget documents that have been prepared and with any subsequent changes or additions, and or otherwise that there be no change made to current practice. And I would move that we approve options 1, 2, and 3 of this notice.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I may just say a further word, and that is that this morning at our meeting of the Committee of the Whole, we did in fact look at the reconstruction of Cottonwood at Highway 3, and there were there was a report from our consulting engineers that indicated all the properties that were going to be affected, and the changes, and the fact that they had been notified in most cases, and that there had been acceptance. And I found that a really good start toward the very thing that this motion is addressing.
And I seconded this because I really do support it. I think it's a tool that we can certainly use to have a more and better informed council. And things change. Gee, from when you do a budget to when it, and then sometimes if you don't make it, if it doesn't make that year, or weather delays or things like that, it comes up, and you're really dealing with some quite dated information. And this just allows everyone that chance to refresh and to pick it up and understand the changes. I mean, I look at the one we did this morning, where we're going to take that to a bit of a public process down there. I think those are the positive things that really the people that live in town want to see and want council to be involved in. So I'm quite happy with this here. Any further comments from council? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Nice work, Councillor Ryan.
Thank you very much.
Bringing us into the reports portion of the meeting. The old financial pay some bills time. We have general and Sun Bowl cash requirements to July the 15th to approve general fund cash requirements in the amount of $2,115,212.58, and to approve Sun Bowl fund cash requirements in the amount of $19,611.47, and to receive for information net payroll accounts of $70,163.34 for the period of June 22nd to July the 5th. Any comments on any of those? They will be adopted by consensus. The next item up is the Town of Osoyoos building permits. We had a new house this month, so that's nice. Total for the month $424,000. Total to date for 2013 just over $2 million, and total to date for 2012, same date of course, $3,200,000. So we're still down substantially from where we were, but one of these years will catch up and surpass some of those old marks. The building permit, the committee reports, we had no committee reports. Mr. Romanko with the CAO report.
Thank you, Mayor Wells. Just some of the things that our administration and operations have been up to in the last couple of weeks, starting in the Community Services Department. In terms of things over at the Splash Park, I don't know if you've noticed, but there is progress being made and some of the equipment is being installed. Second, our playground program is doing very well. We averaged 35 kids per day in week 1, 45 children per day in week 2, including one day we had 57 kids on Thursday the 11th. Financially, the program should hit its 2013 budget target of $10,000 in revenue this week. The Kids Art program is running in cooperation with the Osoyoos District Arts Council, has been very popular, and we're going to be starting a number of our camps over at the Sonora Center and also at the arena. Corporate Services, there was a filing of notice of dispute over one of our MTIs, an open liquor in the park. Our staff attended provincial court on a dog-at-large charge dispute. This matter was adjourned to another date. They attended a meeting with BC Transit and area municipalities regarding transit future plan. A public consultation process will be taking place in September. Further information will be forwarded to council and the public as soon as details are worked out. And many bylaw enforcement complaints, those include unsightly properties, noise and animals, liquor in the park, and especially concerns with boat trailers and RV parking for the short term. Finance Department reports that 90.43% of taxes were collected to July 2nd, and they're mailing out the outstanding notices to all current outstanding property owners. This is something about the average that we deal with, and we're working on 17 pending tax sales, also working on 71 outstanding notices and arrears on property tax owners. Planning and Development Director is hosting an open house tonight at the Sonora Center from 4 to 6 on form-based zoning proposal for Southeast Meadowlark. The Director is preparing an affordable housing incentive package for the Richter property to take to Council. And the Director, CEO, and Building Inspector reviewed the latest report from the architect for the proposed fire hall. And the planning technologist will be approaching owners of prohibited rooftop and animated signs about offering whether they want to retain them under a 3-year amortization agreement. Public Works, the paving is completed on both storm projects at Gala and behind the Home Hardware, and we didn't get any rain during the course of the project, which is great. And the landfill cover project has gone out to tender. In terms of the CAO, they've I assisted in completing an operations review survey for the British Columbia Visitor Center, attended a gas tax information workshop. We started a capital project review for the 2014 budget, and also reviewed the landfill request for proposals and attended an airport expansion committee meeting. And that's my report.
Great, thanks, AO Michael. Councillor McCordock, please.
I'm first on the list. I'm last.
Oh, okay.
You changed? Good, that's fine. Thank you. I spent 4 or 5 days in Vancouver last week, and you know, I went down there mainly to see my children and my siblings and relatives. And the humidity down there is wonderful for my skin and for my hair. But after 5 days, I was tired of the noise. I was tired of the traffic. I was tired of trying to figure out where I could go and where I could park once I got there. And so I was quite happy to come home to God's country and get back to peace and quiet, a place where I can get anywhere in 5 minutes. And occasionally in the summertime, it's a little difficult to get in to do some shopping, but if you readjust your schedule and go either early in the morning or later, it works out. So I'm happy to be home. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about. One was the Osoyoos Library Summer Reading Program. It's every second Tuesday, and it's at starting, well, there was one, I think, last week, and the next one is tomorrow, and it goes until August the 27th. So every second Tuesday, it's from 1:30 to 2:45, ages 5 to 12, and it encourages reading, and I think the theme this year is Up, Up and Away. So go over there. I think they had something like 60 kids the last time there was a magician. Next Friday, or this Friday actually, July the 19th, we are having our first summer street dance. And for 26 years, it's been outside Osoyoos Home Hardware. And this year, there are 2 street dances offered by the Osoyoos Senior Center. So the area is going to be the parking lot beside the Senior Center and the museum. So 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock, come down and support them. It should be a fun event. And the other thing is Market on Main, which normally has markets every Saturday morning until the end of September. It is from 8 o'clock until 1 o'clock outside Town Hall here. Something new has been decided this year, and starting this Wednesday until the end of August, there will be Wednesday Market on Main markets down at Gyro Beach. So there will be from 5:30 to 8:30. We're not sure how many vendors will be there, but there will be entertainment on the band shell, and there will be food. And of course, the Gyro Park Market or cafe is open as well down there. I think this particular day, Wednesday, was chosen because there are many people already down at the beach enjoying volleyball. So we're hoping that that this works. So please come out and join the market twice a week now. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor McCordock. Councillor Rhodes, please. By the way, I have a different agenda. I don't have a batting order for their councillors, so so I'm doing round table.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I don't really have a report, and I was going to use some drama for effect. I was going to get Val to home in on this. Regrettably, you probably won't be able to see it on our internet camera, but and I don't want to talk about it too much because I know Councillor Plant is just chomping at the bit. Our splash park is being built as we sit here. Some of the shape and form is starting to come up, and you know, to get these things built, regrettably, it takes money. We're fully engaged in fundraising right now, and one of the ways that you can contribute is by buying a ticket from me. And that's going to be the essence of my report. I intend to move into full intimidation mode. I had an opportunity just prior to this meeting today to practice on a member of our council, and worked very well, and I was able to sell a ticket, so now I'm going out to the public. So thank you.
So watch out for Councillor Rhodes. Thanks for that report. Councillor Plante, please.
Yes, thank you very much. A couple things came up while we were talking here. So Councillor McCordoff just brought up a really great thing. We get so busy in the summer. We've got our heads down. We're a tourism town. We do get busy. It's always nice to kind of lift your head and look where you live. And so if you get a chance to do that, one of my spots is always up at the Sonora Dunes. I know it's just a nice little 9-hole. If you got 2 hours, you go stand on hole 7. You look down on this town. You realize where you live. And that's just something that came to mind as Councillor McCordoff was talking. And so if you get a chance, and again, we all travel and do those things, and that's usually how I feel coming back from Vancouver. It's good to be home. And so, yeah, I will lift my head this week and take a peek around, as we are super busy. But again, love this town, love the summers here, and this is why I moved here. So it's just something I reflecting on. And then secondly is the splash park. When Mr. Romenko brought up the numbers as far as our day camps, really exciting. 35, 40, 57 kids at these camps. That is at the Cactus Center, folks. And so where that is located is just above the splash park. So that splash park already, I can see 40, 57 kids, 35 kids in there, and really being an amenity for that summer program, and then also being able to go underneath that tunnel and head over to the lake to do some other activities. So that whole combination there, it excites me every minute. And what excites me even more is as I drive by it and see the 3 rings right now. There are 3 colorful rings that are in there that need to be put in before concrete is poured. But it makes me completely excited. I've never been so excited about anything right now other than a splash park. And if you can't get excited about what's happening down there and what we're doing for this town as far as the amenity for these kids, man, I think it's fabulous. And at the process and how quick we're moving forward on getting this done and meeting our timelines, it's fabulous. And again, I just want to bring up the big raffle ticket day is coming up on the 27th. So we've got some tickets to sell, and we're going to be, I'm going to be there right with Mr. Rhodes, Councillor Rhodes, selling tickets like crazy. So please, this is just, again, we've got a $5,000 voucher for travel. We've got $3,000 entertainment that pick and choose. We're using local companies and businesses to provide us with that stuff. So we're really excited. If you get a chance to take a peek at the Facebook Splash Park page, you'll see updates and the photos. If you don't get a chance to go by there, one of the big promising things as well that I saw in there was the Osoyoos Credit Union representing with Jean Day Fridays and raising money for the Splash Park. So thank them as well. And yeah, I said I'm excited. These warm days make me even more excited. I want to be in that splash park on one of those cannons like today. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Councillor Plante. And yeah, that is very, very exciting. I drive by basically every day just to see how the progress is coming. And I think we all have interest there. And Councillor Plante, he's always on me. You get up there and see all those little kids. So I've gone by there and seen them all. In fact, one day they were coming out. So that was fun to see them and their activities. Councillor Ryan, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I was with the mayor and Councillor McCordoff at the Sunshine Festival in Oliver on Saturday, and I encountered some people there, and they were amazed and very complimentary about how rapidly the splash park is taking place, and how the council and the members of committee have pushed that. So that's been really, really exciting, and so the excitement extends beyond our boundaries. It's been a wonderful month of July. We've had all kinds of anniversaries. Started off with the 65th anniversary of the Cherry Festival, and then the 40th of the golf course, and 50th of the sailing club. And I was able to drop by there yesterday with the mayor. So congratulations to all those folks, especially to the boards and the members of all those organizations that have made them so successful in such a large part of our town and its offering to both residents and to visitors. Being in Oliver yesterday, but a little outreach there, and also spent the day with the Oliver Lawn Bowling Club. So they had an open house as well to make it. And it's interesting. Some of the people who were bowling were saying, "Oh, what a good idea to have that carnival atmosphere, you know, with all the rides and everything like that." So, and then they have a 3-day thing now. So it's really quite good, and it was well attended. A lot of people there. So that was great. And just the final thing, and that is that. I know we don't have our cable today, but certainly we've got an RV and boat trailer day parking. We've got our regular boat trailer parking lot, which I guess you could say, in a sense, has a 3-day grace if you come on a Friday afternoon late, and so until you can get your permit on the Monday. So just want to encourage people to make use of those, and to tell their friends and their relatives who come that that's where they can park their vehicles.
Great. Thanks, Councillor Ryan. I just have a couple of quick items on my report. Besides the birthday parties that were here, and congratulations to all those people. Both my mom and dad were charter members at the golf course, and it was pretty neat to be up there on the 40th anniversary. So it's the 40th anniversary of the golf course and the 50th of the sailing club. So those that was 63 and 73, and it's 2013. So I'm wondering, maybe our initiative this year will be the splash park. We'll be one day celebrating the 40th anniversary of the splash park down there. It'll probably take up the whole block by then if Councillor Plante has his way. But when we look at these celebrations, I always look at the volunteers, and they had a lot of historical pictures at both events. And you're looking at the people, and the people that aren't here anymore, but boy, they certainly had the spirit of Osoyoos well covered. And I just like to congratulate all the people that put in all the time for all those events, and to bring them forward. And I know at the golf course there was a lot of committee work putting that all together, and it was so rewarding to see a large turnout. When you see that large turnout, you're just supporting the people that work so darn hard in this town. So again, you know, I always end up being about volunteers, because that's what it really is all about. I did attend, never get too far away from effluent and sewers, unfortunately. So I did go to OK Falls and look at their new sewerage plant there. It's quite the facility. They had a tour of it, and that would be right behind Hardywood. You'll see that big building down on the river flat. Very, very, very nice. And those people have stepped up to, they showed with their wallets what they think water treatment should be. That's a $10 million proposition. They are paying right now, and it's a phase-in approach, they're paying over $600 for sewer, heading to $850 for sewer to look after the water that's coming downstream to us. So I really want to say, you know, hats off to people that are willing to step forward, and they care that much about water, and everyone else should be caring that much about water quality. We did have a meeting here about the airport expansion, and you know, that's, who knows where that's going, other than we're still talking. It's always interesting. There's some interesting people on the committee, and we keep moving forward, albeit in very, very small steps. But like I say, we're still moving in the right direction. The Oliver parade was wonderful. And that is my report. It's a great sunny afternoon out there, 3:45. Let's go out and enjoy some weather. Maybe we'll follow Councillor Plant and get 9 holes of golf in before dinner. So have a good day, folks. I need a motion to adjourn from Councillor Rhodes McCordoff. We're adjourned. Thank you.